Hello, all viewers. Welcome to the 92nd Kilo Chess India team battle, and I am a couple of minutes late because I was trying to get my live stream with the video. Let me check if I can get my video working, guys. Just let me know if the video is working. I have got myself first time on the camera in front of you guys, so yes. Okay, so Arya Rathod says, can you send me the link? Yes, I can send you the link, Arya Rathod, so that you can play as well. Just check this. You can join here, and let me quickly check what's happening. So yeah, there is some problem
Hello,
with the
all viewers.
connection.
Welcome to the 92nd Kilo Chess India team battle.
Okay, so guys, just let me know if the video is stuck or you have some problem with the video. If you can see me or if my video is not clear, just let me know. So right now we have first request here. Let's check. Uh, yes, so Tushar says, "Wow, sir, face cam. Thank you." Yes, Tushar, I am on face cam for the first time, and I just wanted to take this great opportunity of reaching the 700 subscribers. I am very happy today, and I am able to do the live stream for all you guys. I'm very happy. So thanks for all your support for reaching the 700 subscribers, and thank you very much. I'm just trying to find out who is the first person who is requested for the game to be analyzed. Let's try to find out. Mhm. I think Ronit is the first person who is going to who has requested for us to. Yeah, Ronit. Let's try to find Ronit's game. Ronit is Ronit 2010. Yes, that's the game that we are reaching for, and we have a couple of Arya Rathod says, I play for which team? Arya, you have to join some team. You can join my team. Khelo Chess India, it's open for all. Everyone can play for my team. And Tushar says, thank you for, congratulations for 700 subscribers. Thanks, Tushar. It's all because of you beautiful supporters out there, beautiful viewers out there. And thank you very much for supporting my channel. So right now, we are going to take a look at Ronit and Nagendran's game. Okay, so Ronit is playing from white side. Ronit played e4. It was a stalemate. e4, c5, knight f3, d6, pawn to d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, pawn to g6, and knight to c3, bishop g7, bishop e3. So this is a dragon variation of Sicilian defense. If you guys are playing from the white side, just make sure that you know what you are playing here, because most of the players tend to play f3, g4, h4, which is the Yugoslav attack, and then they sometimes they are not able to handle this attack on the queen side, which black conducts. So you have to make sure that you know which opening you are playing right here now. And if you want to learn, there is a beautiful game wherein Magnus has played the same opening from white side. He has attacked black in a superior way. He has done is, he of course he has played f3, he has played queen d2, and he has gone for castles. But after that, he has put his king on b1, he has put his king on a1, he has put his rook on b1 and tried to defend his king. And once everything was defended, he has tried to launch his attack on the king side by playing g4 and h4. Okay, so this is actually a nice opening for white and black, both the sides. If you know how you have to attack, this is one of the best openings for you. So bishop takes d4, bad move by Nagendran here. Do not give away your dragon bishop. If you're playing g6, if you're playing bishop g7, never ever give your bishop away in this way. Bishop on g7 is a dragon bishop which is breathing the fire till this beautiful a1 square. Never give away your bishop over there. Okay, don't exchange your bishop there. Okay, and we have a comment from Kushagra. Kushagra says, sir, on face cam first time. Yes, Kushagra, it's all for you viewers, guys. Many congratulations for great growth of the family. Yes, it has now reached 700. Thank you very much. And Mayank, I can see your comment that if possible, show the third modern page. And congrats, Kilo, just India. Okay. So Mayank, just give me the link below which you want to display. I will definitely display after some time. So bishop takes d4 is not a great move here, guys. If you are playing dragon from black side here, bishop takes d4, knight f6, bishop takes f6, e takes f6, and again, here white has exchanged his dark squared bishop. He should not exchange the only thing that can challenge black now is this dark squared bishop, which holds a good advantage over all these dark squares which are there. Now, queen d2 and long castles is the best move for you, Ronit. If you're listening to this commentary or if you're listening to this recording, play queen d2, long castles here, and then try to play f3, g4, h4. You have a strong dark squared bishop here, which will attack black's king at a great impact. Okay, don't give away this bishop from d4. Always try to maintain the bishop from where you can contact or you can launch a very good attack on the black's king side. So we have bishop takes f6, e takes f6. This is also not a bad move. You're creating a lot of weaknesses in black's camp by putting the weaknesses on d6 and f6, so that now you can play queen d2 castles and try to attack his d6 pawn. So not a bad move, but I feel that you should have preserved this bishop to get better attacking chances. Okay, then we have bishop to b5 check, bishop d7, bishop takes d7, queen takes d7, queen to d4, and now the f6 pawn is under attack with this queen. So let's see how black defends it. Black plays castle, gives away the f6 pawn. Queen takes f6. White is playing here with bit of taking bit of risk because his king is still in center. He should have castled now, at least a long castle or a short castle, anyways. But let's see what happened now. So queen e6 was played, queen exchange was offered, queen came back to f3, and white has rightly declined this request because white has good plans of attacking this d6 pawn by playing long castles here, or at least playing h4 h5 and going for a good attack over here. Okay, so then we have knight to c6, castles, rook to e8, queen to f4, and knight to d4. Now the c2 is hanging, and so queen f4 I think was a bit of. I can see a comment from Subhash. I mean, hi Subhash, good to see you online. And Shikhar says, "Sir, hi, I have some questions in chess. Please tell me." So yes, Shikhar, go shoot your questions. I'm there for you. I want to answer all your questions. I am happy to answer. So just put your questions in the comment section, Shikhar. Okay, so this is okay. Yeah, Ronit says you I made a missed blunder. Yes, Ronit, but yeah, let's check what happened in the game. Queen f4 was played, and here actually you should have played rook to d1. Get your rooks in the open while attack the weak d6 pawn here, so that knight d4 is also not possible. Knight e5 might come, but that's okay. Knight e5 is manageable. You can just play your queen to f4, or you can just even now I think knight d5 is a nice move here. Okay, knight d5 is nice, but with the threat of knight to f6 check, forking the rook and queen. Even if you play knight to e5, I think knight f6 is still possible. And I think knight d5, if queen takes e4, then we have this beautiful knight f6 check. You can capture the queen back, and you can enjoy for the remaining part of your game. So this is interesting position, but Ronit, queen f4 is not the best move here. Knight d4, then we have queen to d2, and we have knight to c6, and rook to d1, rook to d8, and pawn to f4, pawn to f5. And this is not the way you should play on it. Here you should concentrate more on attacking the d6 pawn. Put the queen to d3, or at least try to get both the rooks here in the d file. Try to put more pressure on this d6 pawn. Play queen to f4, get both the rooks on d1 and d2, and try to attack this d6 pawn as much as possible. So I can see a comment from Shikhar. First questions are exposing king and moving pawns from the start to attack opponent in starting is nice idea or not? No, Shikhar, so don't expose your king. Okay, first thing is if whenever you are playing against a high rated player who is having more rating than you, don't keep your king exposed. If your king is exposed, it is very easy for that high rated player to find a plan which can beat you. Okay, so don't keep your king exposed when you are playing against high rated player. You can take some chance against a low rated players, but against high rated players, remember, don't keep your king exposed. Go for a safe variation. You can learn from the grandmasters, you can learn from the examples. Always try to learn from databases. You can use a database software skill which we have just published a video for. You can even find a book there which defines which is the best move in the opening and which you should play as a responsible and as a stable player to avoid any kind of surprises in the opening, at least against higher rated players. So the answer to your question is don't expose your king against high rated players, and against lower rated players you might take some chances, but don't keep your king exposed for too long. Okay, so that's the answer for you. Okay, and then we have then Shikhar says, how sir, how can I think moves in quick time? So combinations and puzzles, you have to solve a lot of puzzles every day, minimum 50 puzzles every day have to be solved to get your response time in a high in fast response time, to calculate quickly, to find combinations, to find a lot of best moves. You have to solve at least 50 puzzles per day. That is recommendation not from me, but also from a lot of IMs. We have just published a couple of interviews with Arjun IM Kalyan and Arjun Bachna Moshwali from Georgia. Both have said that you have to solve a lot of puzzles no matter what. Okay, and last statement is, by the way, sir, your inspiration to us. Thank you, sir, for your support. Yes, Aksha, yes, Shikhar, I'm always there for you. Any questions you have, I will be happy to answer, and I will always help you to improve your game in chess. Okay, so let's go back to the game now. We have this beautiful position wherein white should have prepared to attack this d6 pawn, but white tried to play f4. F4 is not a bad move. There is some idea behind f5, but let's see what happened in the game. Actually, pawn to f5 was played, pawn takes, and here queen takes f5. Then we have queen d5 check, queen e6, and queen takes e6, rook takes e6, and pawn to f5. This still is actually a fightable position, but white has now lost all the advantage. White should have used his queens to attack this weak d6 pawn, and now black is not perfectly fine, but he is somewhat okay. He has some chances here. He is able to get his rook on the white's king side. Okay, and then this knight can probably swing on to g4, or if this rook moves, he has this knight f3 check as well. So let's see what happened in the game. We have rook takes e5. Yeah, this is the blunder. Okay, this is what Ronit, you missed in the game. You should not have played this. So rook takes e5 is a simple loss of your piece, because now d6 pawn is pinned. It cannot capture the e5 rook, and because this rook can capture the rook here. So okay, so black has actually blundered here. So king g7, rook check, and king to h6, rook takes b7, and rook to d6, rook takes a7. I think this is winning for white now, easily winning. There is should be no problems. I'm not sure why this ended in a draw, but I think there was some silly mistake from white which led to a loss here. Okay, and this is what actually I think, yeah, even this is winning actually. I'm not sure why, what, where white went wrong. Yeah, so there is a simple queen. So Ronit, yeah, you stalemated your opponent. Okay, so that's a funny situation, guys. Don't stalemate your opponent. Look at the position on the board. Here, actually, this you have to always take care. Okay, keep some squares for your opponent's king. Don't just lock it right now, which white did over here. There was no reason of giving this queen e5 check. Simply, now the simplest way to do is just push this pawn here, and any move. For example, pawn to a4, you can just push the pawn. If pawn a3, just capture it. Push the, then king moves somewhere, just push the pawn. King moves, push the pawn. King moves, push the pawn, and then you can just use any queen and any rook or anything that you have. Just it's a rolling mate which you can do. This is a check, king here probably, and then this check, king moves, and it's a check and mate. So it's a simple check and mate, guys. Don't miss on the such winning moves. Okay, let's go back to tournament. Let's check who all are have requested their games today. So Ronit was the first person. Then let's check who has requested. Okay, Ronit. Sorry guys, I started a bit late today, so I don't have the list ready with me. I have to go through the chat to find out who has requested. And yes, Mayank, I can see your comment. Please try to check Kilochinja's page. Isn't link isn't getting loaded. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so which battle is this? This you're telling about, Mayank? This is the multinations, I think. That's what third multination page. Okay, okay, yeah, right. I'll do that. I'll do that. Yes. And I can see a comment from Shiv Chaurasia. Shiv says, "Congrats for the 700 subscribers. Thank you, Shiv. Thank you very much. It's all because of you support, your support of you viewers, which helped me to do this live broadcast and get as many subscribers as we can get." Okay, so we have next request from. I'm just trying to figure out who is the next one to request. Ronit has done. Okay, and then we have request from mhm, Smooth Chess 77. Let's check Smooth Chess 77's game. Okay, and we have Smooth Chess 77 playing against Pra- Pramit. Okay, Pramit versus the game is going on live, and let's check to the first position. What is the so d4 was played by Prathamesh. Prathamesh is from Karnataka Sunners, and Smooth Chess is from Chennai Chess Club. So d4 was played as the first move. d4, knight f6, knight f3, pawn to d5, pawn bishop to f4, pawn to c6. We have pawn to e3, bishop to f5, and bishop to e2, pawn to e6, and castles. Then we have bishop d6, bishop knight to e5. Okay, interesting. Let's okay. So game black has won the game, but let's check what happened in the game. So Naya bishop knight to e5, and then we have queen to e7. So this is a London system from white side, and black is trying its level best to establish its presence, and probably knight d7 and c5 is actually is played in these positions, not c6. C6 is also playable, but c5 is something which is more aggressive, and then you can just put your queen on b6, try to attack this b2 pawn. Queen b3 can be answered by playing pawn to c4, and black might get a better position here after these moves. Okay, knight d7 was played, knight takes d7, knight takes d7, and bishop takes d6, queen takes d6. Most of the pieces are now exchanged, so probably we can see a ending very soon. Okay, and I can see a comment from okay. Shiv says congrats for 700 subscribers. Yes, thank you, Shiv. Thanks very much. And also he says, sir, face camp. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the compliments, Shiv. And another, yeah, I think that's, yeah, you're a great analyzer of chess. Thank you, Shiv Chaurasia. I think this helps you the analysis. It's my happiness that I am able to do it for you. It's completely my pleasure. Okay, so we have castles and pawn to c4, pawn to c5, c takes d5, e takes d5, knight to b3, pawn to c4. So this push actually you have to think a couple of times, because once this pawn is pushed, you will fix this pawn, and sometimes this bishop f3 becomes annoying because I'll just play c4 first and explain you. So bishop f3 becomes annoying because it directly starts hitting your d5 pawn, which is a backward pawn which does not have any support from any pawn. So you're creating a weakness here on d5. So just make sure that this d5 pawn is supported well when you proceed in your game. For example, your queen might like to go on this king side, but it might leave this pawn hanging sometime. So rook to d8 is one of the rook e8 on this rook d8 is one of the important things. And also you should make sure that you don't allow white to play the e4 move. White is going to try now to play f3 and e4 with the support, extra support on the e4 square, but don't allow him to play that. If possible, try to get more control on the e4 square so that this pawn never reaches e4 square and it doesn't destroy your pawn chain over here, or it doesn't try to attack this f5 bishop. Okay, try to get more control on this e4 square after you have locked your pawns here. So let's proceed. So knight to d2, and then we have pawn to b5. Bishop to f3. Yeah, as I said, this bishop has now hopped onto the f3 and trying to attack in this beautiful diagonal out there. We have rook to e8, rook to e1, and knight to f6, pawn to a3, pawn to a5, rook to c1. So black is playing right over here, trying to expand on the queen side, but at the same time, he also has to make sure that e4 is not possible. Right now, e4 is very well guarded by this knight on f6, bishop on f5, queen on d6, and pawn on d5, and also the rook on e8. Everyone is trying to get a control on this e4 square. That is the right way to play from black side. This is a very good example. Try to put your all pressure on the e4 square as much as possible. Don't allow white to play e4 himself. Okay, so let's proceed, and then we have pawn to b4, pawn to a4, rook to c1. Now that is a nice thing because this rook is now out of this danger of this bishop. Sometimes, rarely, if possible, white might play a move like knight takes c5, knight takes c4, d takes c4, bishop takes a8, rook takes a8, and rook takes c4. So white will get two pawns here, c4 and d5, by giving away his knight and bishop and getting the rook. So still he gets an 1 point extra, and that's not actually a winning position for white, but he might get this passer, which he might try to use later in the end game. Okay, and Shiv says, sir, always knight fork my king with rook or queen. So what can I do? Please tell me. You have to pay more attention to your defense if you're facing a lot of forks. Sometimes in time pressure we tend to lose some focus and attention, and it's okay. Sometimes you might get a fork and you might lose your piece, and of course you might lose the game as well. It happens sometimes, but as an improvement, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you are paying an equal attention to your defense. Sometimes you think from the attacking point of view, how can I attack, how can I attack, and you think about all the attacking plans and you don't think about your defensive plans. And that is where these cunning little night fox comes and tries to deliver a checkmate on you, or at least try to get some material for them. So you have to make sure that you pay equal attention to your defense as well. Okay, meanwhile I can see a question from Mayank. Yes, Mayank, I'm using a green background. This is called as a chroma key. You can Google out how to use a chroma key, and then you can do what I'm doing right now. I'm making my background invisible. That's what you can do. And Okay, so that's the answer for you, Shiv. You have to pay more attention to your defense. You are right now you're paying more attention to your attack. So you are facing these force and extreme tactics from your opponent. So you have to increase your attention on the defense as well. Okay, next move is rook to c8, and as I said before, knight takes c4 is sometime possible, so you have to take care from black side here. Knight to f1, we have pawn to c3, and then pawn takes, and knight to g3, bishop to g6, and queen to b3. Now queen to b3 is having multiple roles here. Queen is trying to attack this d5, queen is trying to attack the c3, queen is also trying to create some pressure in the b file, not exactly working out here, but the rook is not able to come in b file because of this bishop sitting here. So the queen can come to b3 and try to get some control here in the b file. Not exactly it's going to work out now, but queen can try to come to b5, try to attack this a5 pawn, and try to get some kind of play on the queen side. But if you look at white's position, this queen is on the queen side, this knight is on the king side, so they both are not complementing each other right away. Okay, so don't don't try to use two different plans here. Try to use a one single plan. If you want to attack your queen side, your knight should have been somewhere on the queen side. This knight should have been somewhere on the b5 square, not on the g3 square. If you want to attack on the king side, as as your knight is there on the g3, you should have tried to bring your queen on the king side if possible. By any means, if you are able to play bishop h5 and get some pieces exchange, get your queen to h5 and then try to attack here. So that is how actually you should have played from white side. Don't use two different plans. Try to use just one single plan. And let's check the next move. So rook c7 was played here. Rook to c3, and then rook takes c3. A simple exchange here. Pawn given away by black. Rook c7 I think was not the best move here. The queen to b5. b4 could have been played. Of course, I know that knight bishop takes d5 is possible, but then if you are able to save this pawn and get this pawn as well, then there are two passes that black can have here. And even this pawn can go to c7 if you want to save this pawn. This bishop is it's not c7 c2. A bishop is supporting the c2 square. So pawn to c2 can be a good move actually. Okay, don't make just make sure that you are also saving your pawn. Don't give away your pawn. So rook c7 was not the best move here from smooth chess. I think here c2 could have been played, or I think queen b4 is also playable. I'm okay if I am able to give away this d5 pawn. It's absolutely fine because of this. So for example, queen to b4, and then we have bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, and then for some reason, if I'm able to play pawn to c2, then there is a threat of queen takes e1, rook takes e1, and pawn c2, rook takes c2, and rook takes c2, knight to f1, and bishop d3 over here to get a checkmate on this f3 score, or at least gets a lot of pieces for black. Okay, so there were a lot of tactics here which you should have analyzed from black side. Smooth chess. Let's quickly go on to the next moves. Rook c7, pawn takes c3, rook takes c3, queen takes c3, queen to b4, queen c6. Now the queen is trying to create some tactics in the on the black side. So queen takes e1, a free rook there, and I think that should be the end of game. I think white has completely ignored his rook, and this is what happens. Shiv, if you're listening, if you just if you ignore this defenses sometimes, Shiv, as you just mentioned that there is a knight fork that you face every day, or in most of your games, not every day. This is what happens. So now your white was thinking more on the attacking side. How can I attack? I don't want to exchange my queens. I'll just try to go and attack here on the king side. But he left his defenses weak. This is what you should pay attention to. You have to divide your attention equally between attack and defense. Okay, if you just keep thinking from the attacking point of view, it might not work out for you. You have to pay attention, and you have to pay an equal attention to your defenses. Okay, so meanwhile, Shiv says, thank you, sir. You are doing great work. Never gets demotivated and always gives us your appreciation, valuable opinion. Yes, Shiv, that's my pleasure. I am happy to help you all guys and to improve your chess. So after Queen E1, I think it's pretty much lost for White. So let's not play the next game. Let's not play the next move. Let's go and check the next game. Let's check who all have. Okay, Srikara says, "Oh, there are a lot of requests now. Just a minute, guys. A lot of requests coming on. Around it, we are done. We are done with. We are done with. Okay, so Prathamesh is the next person who has requested us. Let's check Prathamesh. Prathamesh 555. Yeah, he's playing. Yeah, he's playing right now. So let's check. He's playing against Utkal. Utkal, I think, is from Gujarat. No, Utkal is from BCC, and Prathamesh is from the best chess lovers. So let's check Prathamesh's game. E4, C6. So Karo Khan defense, one of my favorite openings, guys. And Karo Khan always reminds me of the great Anatoly Karpov, the great GM, the great player Anatoly Karpov. He is one of the best Karo Khan players. If you are preparing Karo Khan defense, make sure that you check his games as much as possible. He will teach you a lot from his games and from his experience. So we have pawn to d4, pawn to d5, e takes d5, c takes d5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to d3, knight to f6, and castles and bishop g4, pawn to c3, pawn to e6. So we have reached a position which I am telling you in almost all of my broadcasts, that this is called as the Carlsbad pawn structure. Carlspad, Carlsbad pawn structure. So you have to research and you have to learn how to play in this pawn structure. Okay, wherein white has these pawns, okay, and black has these pawn chain. Okay, these are the pawn chains which might get swapped sometimes, wherein when in the queen's gambit decline, or in the Slav defense, when white plays c takes d5, then the same position occurs in the mirror. It's a mirror image, so that these pawn structures are is with the black, and you get a different pawn structure over here. So you have to learn this pawn structure. There are different strategies and plans in this pawn structure. It teaches you how you should proceed with your game once you reach this position. And that is very important. If you don't know how to play this position, you are going to make some bad moves which will lead to your losses. So do study this Carlsbad pawn structure. It appears in almost 40 to 50% of the games, mostly in d4 or in the Karo Khan defense, sometimes in the Sicilian also, wherein the c5 pawn is exchanged. So there are a lot of lines. In French defense also sometimes it can happen. Um, so the point is that you have to learn these pawn structures and how to play in these pawn structures. Okay, let's proceed with the game. H3 was played here. Bishop goes back. Pawn to g4. And this, I think, Prathamesh, I am not much happy about. Of course, you must have prepared this, but somewhere I think you are exposing, because after bishop takes g6, you cannot capture bishop takes g6. After h takes g6, this rook is going to be very much stronger in the h file. So you have to take care here, guys. Don't just expose your king in this way. Bishop g6, knight e5, bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, and bishop to e7, pawn to f4, knight to e4, and knight to d2 now. So white's king is pretty much exposed. So if black is able to handle this attack, white is going to end up in trouble. Okay, pawn to f5, pawn takes, and now king to. Look at this king, guys. So he is just trying to find some shelter right now. So Prathamesh, just try to make sure that you don't expose your king in such way, or at least as you're trying here, something probably rook g1 and rook takes g7. I hope this works out for you. So rook g1, you are trying bishop to f6, knight takes e4, f takes e4, and queen g3, knight to e7, and then we have queen to g4. Queen, I think this queen e6 check is now very much dangerous, so black has to pay attention. Bishop takes e5 and queen e6 check, king moves, and queen takes e5. So now there is a mate threat on this g7 square. Look at this queen and this rook, both are converging here on the g7. Okay. Uh, okay, so okay, the game is over, but let's check what happened. Okay, I'm just fast forwarding the position that we are in. Meanwhile, I can see a comment from Samin. Samin Adhikar says, "Hi sir, congrats for 700 subscribers. Thank you, Samin. It's all because of your support. You are the beautiful chess lovers and beautiful supporters for me for the channel, and thank you very much to all you viewers." Okay, and Mayank says something about Prathamesh, but Mayank, it's okay. You don't have to accuse anyone. Anyone is free to join any team and to play with any team. You don't have to accuse or take any names here. So please don't comment anything that might hurt somewhere in the comment section. Okay, sir, two pawns in a row always happen to me, and if not, I will not capture his piece, then my game will become worse. So Samin, I'm still not able to follow what you're trying to say. Just can you please elaborate? I can try to explain you the answer, but I'm not able to get the question. Okay, so this was the position, and then queen to g3 was played, queen here, queen check, queen takes e5, and knight f5 now is defending this checkmate on g7. So let's see what happens then. So rook to g4 was played, queen to d7. This knight was under attack by queen and this rook. So Queen is supporting it, and now look at this bishop. This bishop is not in the best of its places. So bishop d2 now, pawn to e3, and bishop takes e3, rook to d8, and this is one of the traps that you can set up for your opponent. Uh, I think this is something I think white missed here. So pawn e3, you cannot capture because of this beautiful attack rook e8, and you should be keeping an attention on this tactics. Okay, so pawn to e3, bishop takes e3, rook e8, rook takes f5, rook takes f5, queen takes f5, queen takes queen, and I think that's the game for black here. So a good game, but I think Prathamesh, again you have to focus more on your opening, and this kind of attack actually doesn't work most of the time. It looks aggressive, but it doesn't. It's not effective. As I said earlier in this, when the game started, that white is going to end up in some trouble if black is able to handle this attack. So that is what has happened. So don't go for such openings wherein you put yourself in trouble. Try to play stable openings wherein your king is safe, and your position is stable, and you don't have any weaknesses in your game. Just try that, Prathamesh, and I hope once you learn this openings, when you play perfectly this opening section, you will definitely able to beat IM's and GM's future in your future. So all the best for that, and keep learning the openings. Let's go back to tournament. Let's check the next request. Okay, Mr. Ferris says first face game. Yes, Mr. Ferris, it's all for the chess lovers out there, for the chess viewers. And I am just trying to come online, and with the face, I might be able to interact with you in a better way. Like I'm with there with you with right now in front of you and explaining you the chess, so it might give a better look and feel for you as well. So let me know in the comment section if it looks good, or should I be without the face? What do you feel? What do you feel? Okay, so next game was from we have checked smooth. Koravik is asking now. Koravik, let's check Koravik's game. Koravik is online. He is playing against Pramit 2006, and he is from Chestnut Academy. So Koravik, I think, is the leader of Chestnut Academy, and he is rated 2063. Pramit is rating 18672. Let's go to the first move here. Let me quickly have a sip of water, guys. Okay, I'm back. So d4, knight f6, knight f3, pawn to g6, bishop to f4, bishop g7, pawn to e3, pawn to d5, bishop d3, pawn to c5, pawn to c3. So this is again an example of the London system, which white tries to set up a very good fortress, very good setup on from the white side. You can learn this opening. This is a very stable and good opening for you as white. It makes sure that you don't expose anything in the opening itself. You create a very good pawn chain, and later in the game, you can slowly open up the files and try to attack in the E file and the C file. Okay, these two files. So let's see what happened in the game. C takes D4 was played, C takes D4, and this is actually a symmetrical pawn opening now. If you look at this position, this is a symmetrical opening wherein both players have the same pawn structures. Okay, not the same pawn structure. This is Vian to bishop, but somewhat similar, and both players have to play on the queen side as much as possible now. Okay, king side won't be possible because this bishop from black side, bishop is pointing towards the queen side. This bishop might end up on not on f5 but on g4, playing h3, and then queen takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and this bishop if comes back, it has to join somewhere on the queen side. So it's going to be the complete battle is going to be on the queen side now. Okay, so Mr. Ferris says looks good. Thanks, Mr. Ferris. That is what I was hoping for. Positive comments from all of you, beautiful viewers out there. And just make sure that you check today's video, Mr. Ferris, and all the viewers out there. Today we have released a beautiful video. There is a beautiful novel on chess which was written by the great author, one of the great authors, Mr. Om Swami, and the book's name is The Last Gambit. You can check my video on it. I have created an animation video. It's a beautiful video, and make sure you also share with your friends. So knight to c6, we have castles and castles, and knight to c3, rook to e8. Again here I think there is sometimes there is this plan of playing pawn to e5, but that actually most of the time ends up not so good for a black, because black is having this IQP. If this pawn is exchanged on e5, this IQP becomes a headache for black then to save this IQP. Okay, so white played rook to c1, bishop to g4, bishop to e2, queen to b6. Now the action on the queen side has started. Black has started his first attack on the white. Let's see how white defends is. Pawn to b3, Knight to e4 and now knight to d5. So d5 was left away. So Koravik, if you are listening to this commentary, make sure that you don't keep your pieces hanging. Always try to keep your pieces supported. I have said before in this stream as well, if your pieces are hanging, it becomes easier for your opponent to find some plan, find some tactics. But if your pieces are supported, it is not easy for your opponent to find any plan or any tactics. Okay, so just try to make sure that your pawns and pieces are all supported. Okay, so we have b3, knight e4, knight takes d5. And I think black is going to lose after this queen a5, knight to c7, knight c7. Yeah, I think that was kind of forced. Okay, pawn e5, knight takes e8. Okay, so this was the fork here. So, okay, it was white wins the game, but let's check what happened. Let's quickly fast forward to the position that we were in. Yep, e5 and knight takes e8, pawn takes f4, knight takes g7, pawn takes e3, f takes e3, and king takes g. So this is actually winning for white. If you look at the pieces, white is having one, two rooks. He's having just a single rook, bishop and bishop, knight and knight. So white is having an extra rook for this knight. So white is slightly better here. He also has this beautiful passer in the center. So that makes a huge advantage for white. Then we have knight to e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes. I think this is not good for white. White is losing away two pieces by giving. Yeah, no, it's an exchange. I think yeah, two pieces for yeah. Queen is getting back on g4. Yeah, that's fine. So queen to d7 now, attacking this rook and also attacking this. F7 pawn. So how will black defend? Black will play knight f6. It's a nice little defensive move, attacking the queen, attacking the rook, attacking the saving everything over there. But I think rook takes f3, f6 is not possible. King takes f6 and queen takes e8 should be winning for white. So that's what white played in the game, and I think this is now completely winning for white. And black has resigned in fact here. So Koravik, a lot of improvements for you. And first of all, I think you exchange with the C pawn. So you created the symmetrical pawn structure from black side. I'll just go to quickly to that position where I wanted to comment. Yeah. Okay, no, white has created this, so that's perfectly fine. That's okay. I thought you have created this symmetrical pawn structure. Okay, that's fine. You can opening was good, but I think somewhere in the middle of the game you goofed up and this d5 pawn was given for free. That was the blunder. If d5 pawn you have saved, then the game was in very good shape for you. Okay, Omkar says nice coverage and also great videos. Thank you, Mr. Omkar. Omkar, all the viewers out there, just a shout out for Omkar. Omkar is a great commentator and also great YouTuber. So just check his channel, guys. There are a lot of good videos in Marathi. And this is a local language in Maharashtra. So if you are interested in Marathi language, do check his videos. The videos are beautiful. So thanks, Omkar, for the thumbs up for us. And let's go ahead in the game. What happened? Bishop queen to b6. Then we have pawn to b3, knight to e4. And yes, this is where actually the blunder happened, knight to d5, and the game was gone. So Koravik, you have to pay attention to your defenses. Don't give away the pawn for free. Let's go back to the tournament and check the next. Who was the next requester? Uh, okay, Koravik. Srikara has asked us. Srikara is online and he's playing right now with the Pro Beast Boy. He has lost with 2236 rated player. Let's check that game. So okay, so Srikara is from I think the best chess lovers, and Gary Bar, I'm not sure which team he's from. So e4, e5, you're playing from black side Srikara. So knight c3, knight c6, pawn to f3. Pawn to f3, I have not seen much, but probably that's where you had to capitalize your knight to e2, and here that's putting just I'm keeping few moves back. So Seeker, I think you should analyze here this move. Bishop takes g1, rook takes g1, queen h4 check. Okay, and once the king moves or pawn is pushed to g3, you can capture the h2 pawn. Okay, just analyze this position once, Seeker. I think this might be plus for you. I was just wanted there was something in this position. I was just trying to find out the moves. So you have to analyze this position, Srikara. If you are listening to this commentary or if you are listening in the recording, so just make sure that you capture this G1 knight out there. Okay, and try to give this h4 check and try to capture the pawn and check what happens later on. Okay, so do analyze the position. It is an interesting position, Srikara. So knight f6, knight to e2, pawn to d6, pawn to d3, knight to h5. I think this is not the best move. Knight h5. I think you're wasting here. Just put the bishop on e6, get this bishop exchange, try to put the king on castle and get this open file. Try to do something in the open file. So bishop to d2, then bishop e6, knight to g3, and now knight g3. I think here you could have played queen to h4. The idea was to capture this knight on g3 because this pawn is pinned, and if the pawn captures g3, you can capture the rook on h1. Okay, this was another chance that you have queen h4. So I think there is some fear in your mind to play aggressive here, Srikara. You have to learn to play aggressive. You don't just keep making the silent and simple moves. Always go for the aggression. Try to play some aggressive moves. This queen h4 was a nice move actually for you. Queen h4 and just try to uh, get that attack on the knight on g3. I think you should have played that move. Okay. Anyways, knight f6 was played back again, and then we have queen to e2, knight to d4, queen back to d1, pawn to a6, then bishop takes e6, f takes e6, knight to e2, and pawn to c6, pawn to c3, knight c6, and I think this bishop is getting trapped here. This bishop has no square to go. If the b4 is played here, this bishop is trapped. So from the black's point of view, you have to pay attention here. Don't keep your bishop in this way. When you push this pawn, this bishop is going to get trapped for most of its time. You have to make sure that this bishop is still has some squares actually. You can play your pawn to b5 instead of b6 so that this bishop can come back to a7 and be safe on a7. Don't let your bishop to get trapped over here. Okay, and queen to b3. Prachi Sawan says, hello sir, great jobs. Thank you, Prachi. Thanks a lot for your comments. Then we have queen e7, long castles, and we have pawn to f4. E takes f4, knight takes f4. Now the e6 pawn was hanging over here, so pawn was pushed to e5, and still I think knight e6 is possible, so that this knight can capture the c5. Uh, Bishop's knight d5 was pretty interesting. Knight takes d5, queen takes d5, and queen to d7, supporting this knight. Rook to f1, knight to e7, and queen to a1, check and mate. Queen to 8, check and mate. So again, the same suggestion to you that you are not paying attention to defenses here, Srikara, and you have very good chances in the opening to play queen h5 and try to create this some tactics on the king side which you missed. Okay, so just try to again check this recording and trying to find that queen h4 move, which could have helped you to win actually. And then of course missing this mate and allowing this bishop to get trapped sometime by playing b4. This is not the right way to play. Just try to make sure this bishop has some square over here on the e7. I think yeah, that's it. Nothing else from my side for this game. So Srikala, just check all the tips that I have given you. The next game is from Srikara is done. Then okay, so Mashra, please. Samarth Rao is saying, please analyze my game. Let's take Samarth Rao's game. SAMJ. He is a candidate master. That's what I got the information about. So that's very nice, Samarth Rao. And we are happy to have you with us. So let's check his game. GM is playing today's game. That's great. Grandmaster is playing our tournament, guys. So we are lucky to have this great GM playing, and he is Dart McCartney. He's from Hungary. So that's nice. Hungary with the rating of 2564. That's a great rating. Let's check what happened in the game. Samarth Rao and a GM playing a game out here. Samarth Rao was black. He played the Scandinavian defense. E takes d5, pawn to c6, and knight takes c6, knight to f3, pawn to e6, and now bishop to b5. We have bishop c5 and pawn to d4. Bishop c5 actually creates a nice tactic here. The tactic is bishop takes f2, king takes f2, queen to b6 check. If king is saved, then queen takes b5 can be played. So to stop that tactic, pawn to d4 is played now. Bishop comes back to b3, and we have castles from white side. Knight to f6 and pawn to c3. Castles again. Bishop to g4, Bishop to g5, pawn to h6, and bishop goes to h4, bishop to d7. Now, as this bishop, dark squared bishop from black side, has been maneuvered to this queen side, this pin is actually very annoying for black. Okay, so whenever you are planning to put your bishop on this queen side, somewhere on the queen side, make sure you play pawn to h6 first so that this bishop doesn't come to g5 and annoy you. Okay, this generally leads to this bad pawn structure on f6 after some time when this knight comes to this e4 square, and you might have to play some g5 move exposing your castle king. Or even if you don't play g5 move, just try to play something which is okay, and then this knight f6, gf6 has to be played, so it destroys your pawn structure. So make sure that you play h6 before you put your bishop on the queen side. Okay, like this. Or if your bishop can come back to e7 to get this pin resolved, it's best. Okay, now the bad on the worst way to get rid of this pin is to play queen e7, then play bishop d8, and then play queen d6. That's a funny way to get rid of this pin, but that's what it came to my mind, that you can get rid of this pin, annoying this bishop, annoying pin from this bishop by this way, by putting your queen on e7, getting on d6, and getting the bishop on the d8. Okay, so rook to e1 was played, pawn to a6, bishop to d3, and rook to c8. Knight to d2, we have bishop to a7, and then queen to e2, pawn to b5. Rook to d1, and now we have queen to c7. Here it comes. Bishop crosses the f6, and now there is a double pawn on your king side. As I just explained you have to avoid this problem, Samantrao, by playing in this way. Uh, by at least having your bishop on e7 somewhere, or just trying to play h6 before so that your knight is not pinned. Okay, so queen to e4, threatening a check and mate over here with the help of the bishop. I think f5 is now on the cards. F5 was played, queen to h4, and this is very easy now. It's very happy position for black cannot play this move because of this again knight check, and it's very frustrating for black now. So pawn to d5, and knight moves, and knight to d4, knight to c4, bishop takes c4, bishop takes c4. I think this bishop should not be given away right now. Okay, bishop is still an important piece for you to conduct the attack. So we have bishop takes c4, pawn takes c4, knight to f3, bishop takes d4, the rook takes d4, and pawn to e5, attacking this rook. But I think e5 is hanging here, so just knight will just capture the pawn. And rook to e8. There are a couple of ways to just handle this pawn. d6 is one of the ways. Then knight can go to f3 and again support this rook. So nothing to worry about here for white. Pawn to d6, queen to c5, queen g3 check, knight to king to h7, and we have rook to d1. Bishop to a4, pawn to d7, we have rook takes e5, rook takes e5, and queen to c7. And I think this is lost now for black. Okay, so you played a nice game, Samarth Rao, but just one improvement that came to my mind was this: don't allow this pin, okay, which you allowed in the opening. You allowed this bishop to come on the g5 square. Okay, so here this was a position you played. You preferred to keep your bishop on b6. I would have liked to bring it back to e7, but that's fine. Knight f castles, knight f6, and pawn c3. Here you should have played h6 actually. You should not have allowed this bishop to come on the g5 square. Okay, so castles, and that's how actually once you allow this bishop on g5, the game was right now. It was not the comfortable game for you. Okay, so let's go back to a tournament and try to pick up the next game here. Okay, so okay, there's a huge list, guys. Just wanted to Samarthra, we have done IDK 912. Okay, IDK 912 has not requested someone play me. If you beat me, okay. And then we have Yogaraj. Yogaraj has requested last 8 minutes. I think couple of games we can take, or this might be the last game for today. So we have Yogaraj and Koravik playing, and let's try to pick up a game between Queen Love, and yeah, let's try to pick up this game. So Yogaraj is playing from white side here, and Koravik is sorry, Queen Love is playing from black side. So Yogaraj played d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight f3, bishop g7, e4, d6. This is the main line of the King's Indian defense. This is the King's Indian defense, wherein you play bishop g7, knight f6, pawn d6, and go for a kingside castle. This is the new King's Indian defense. Castles, you have pawn to g3. That's fine. Bishop to g4. I think we have seen similar game in last or couple of tournaments back. We have seen a same game from your side, I think. So castles, and now bishop rook to e8, and we have bishop e3, pawn to e5, pawn to h3, bishop takes here. I think same line happened in that game as well. You have given away your dark squared bishop in that line, and then again the same. You have, I think, Yogara, just correct me if I'm wrong. Same mistake you have done in last couple of not last couple of, but at least 5 to 6 days back. You have played a similar line, and there you had created a similar mistake. I think so. You have given away this e4 pawn and then queen d3, and all everything was destroyed from white side. This is not the right way to play. So first of all, I'll just keep few pieces back. Here after e5, you have the option of playing pawn to d4. Okay, don't let your this pawn get exchanged, and this bishop might enjoy his remaining part of the life by getting a open file over here. There is a chance, there is a, you might have prepared this variation. Okay, e takes a d4 from white side. But if you look at the grandmaster games, and uh, if you look at the grandmaster games, definitely you will see a lot of games wherein d5 was pushed, lot of games, and the plan is pretty simple on that. Let's just play the pawn to b4, pawn to a4, plan pawn to c4, and this queen can go to b3, then knight can come to this d2 and try to go to this c4 square. The plan is pretty simple in that case. At the same time, black might go to try to go knight to h5, knight to d7, pawn to f5, f4, and you have to defend by playing pawn to f3 sometimes. Okay, so plan has to be changed here, Yogaraj. Just a suggestion from my side, put this position on in the database and try to find the grandmaster games and what they have played in this position. Okay, and if you don't know how to get this position in the database, you can check my video on skid, which has been released on Thursday, just a couple of days back. It explains you how you can set up a position on the board in the skid software and try to find all the games that are there in a database. You can also find which grandmasters like to play this position, and you can follow those grandmasters. So make sure, Yogaraj, you change some strategy over here. Okay, so change something that next time you should not end up in the same situation. I can see a comment from Bitopan Sharma, sir. How can we play with you? Okay, Bitopan, right now I won't be able to play. I would like love to play with you, but I won't be able to play. I'm pretty much busy in all the chess work, my job, my chess coaching, and a lot of things going on right now. So I'm not getting time at all to have my dinner or lunch as well. Right now, there are a lot of things which I have to start working upon after finishing this video live stream. Then probably late night I might have my dinner or some other work comes up. So it's difficult to play, but sometime yes, bit open. I'll like to play with you, but not right now. Forgive me. Sometime in the future. Okay, so h3, then bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, and e takes d4. This is something that you have to avoid, Yogaraj. Bishop takes d4. Don't give away this bishop, and this is where you start losing. So I'm not much sure that we should look for the further moves, as black is already pawn up here, and it would be easy for him to continue the game. Let's quickly check what happened in the game here. So queen takes, and now the h6 pawn was hanging here. Okay, so why was h6 not captured? I'm just trying to find out, is there any tactic here after capturing the h6 pawn? I cannot say okay, e6 is possible, yeah, d6 is possible. So why did not you capture this pawn, Yogaraj? h6 was free here, and then g5 was could have been free as well. Okay, and I think this is a miss from white side. You should have seen this queen takes h6. You play c takes d5, c takes d5, and queen takes b6. No, queen takes h6 I think was a lot better here. Okay, and there's no way that now black can stop this pawn push. It's going to be very much dangerous for black after this. So I think this is what you missed in the game, Yokraj, your winning chance. Okay, anyhow, let's go back and quickly check. So I think then the ending was approach, and but you have already missed all the winning chances here. Still, the position was not bad. You could have squeezed some kind of tactics here. I'm just quickly fast forwarding the position. You actually played very well in the position. Yeah, this is a blunder actually where you lost your rook. So this actually, I think rook to d5 was forced, your rook d5, and then try to get your rook to d6 somehow. Or at least rook play rook d5. Yeah, I think this was better. Rook d5, rook to d4, and rook to b4, blocking this rook from attacking the pawn, and this pawn can be pushed very quickly. Okay, so rook d5, rook d4, and rook b4 should have been played here, Yogaraj. And if king goes to stop these pawns, then you can just march your king towards this pawn and try to capture them. Okay, so good game. I think then b6. I think this was lost because the rook was trapped. Yeah, that's a winning for black. Now let's go back to the tournament and check what time is remaining. So now we have still left with 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Let's try to pick up one last game. Who was the next requester? We have checked. Where is the next one? Prathamesh, we have analyzed your game. Yogaraj, we analyzed your game, and yeah, I think most of them we have covered. And right now, I just let quickly check who is uh, uh, if anyone has requested in the YouTube chat section. A lot of comments today, guys, and thanks for all your support. So, Aryo Rathod, if you are still listening, just let me know if you are able to join the team and if you are able to play. Okay, so we have answered all the questions, we have taken all the requests, and yes, Omkar. So, a GM was playing today, and Darth McCartney, that is the name. I need to check who is this player. Let's quickly check his profile. Okay, let's try to check the profile. Okay, so hello, I am Imr Balak GM from Hungary. Just let us try to Google this player. Who is Imr Balak? Okay, we have his profile here, FIDE profile, Omkar for you. Narendra says, congratulations for 700 subscribers. Thanks, Narendra. Thanks a lot. So, this is the GM who is playing today. I'll just try to zoom here, guys, for you. This is Imar Balog playing from Hungary, Grandmaster. He's playing our tournament, and this is his current rating. Look at the rating, guys. 2567, 2666, 2626, and 267. A great player playing our tournament today. So, that's our the pleasure is completely ours here, and this is perfectly a great situation wherein we have a great grandmaster playing our tournament. This is how your platform or our platform is going to help all of you. You get a chance to play against a grandmaster. This is very rare, and you don't actually get much chances to play in grandmaster, but this is one tournament where you have started getting these chances, and I'm very happy actually that we have this grandmaster with us today. And I was given a chance, I got a chance to analyze this game live here on my YouTube channel, so I'm very happy today. And let's go back to tournament. I think it's almost over. And yes, so that is the final ranking of today's 92nd Khelo Chess India team battle. Karnataka Stunners have won today. So Yogaraj, congratulations to you. I can see Yogaraj's comment. Hi sir, Yogaraj, congrats for your team. You have won today. Karnataka Stunners on 181 points. That's great. And we have BCC team on number 2 with 172 points. Prayagraj Future GMs on 144, the best chess lovers on 143. This grandmaster is playing from the best chess lovers, and thank you the best chess lovers team for providing us a beautiful entertainment today. A great player playing our tournament. Thank you very much. Then we have Gujarat Lions, Pawns Hurricane, Chestnut Academy, and look at this position points, guys. For third position, 144 and 143, they were pretty close. Both the players, I think, both the teams, Prayagraj and the best, just 1 point difference, and not far behind Gujarat Lions today on 137. We have Pawns Hurricane on 137, again tying up for the fifth position. Chestnut Academy on 125, Chennai Chess Club on 99, and Kelo Chess India on 63, and Chess Blasters on 57. So a good performance from all the teams, and let's check who has. So as expected, the Grandmaster is on top today, playing from the best chess lovers with 42 points. And then we have Karthik on second position, Mr. Perfect Prash from 30 from Karnataka Suns on 32 points. Then Terminator number one, again a very good rated player from Pons Hurricane. Linus from BCC, K Mandar from Chestnut, Pramit from Karnataka Suns, Swapnil Vaichale from BCC, and Prathamesh from the West Chess Lovers, and Advocate Rajiv from Prayagraj Chess GMs, future GMs. So very good tournament, guys, coming to a beautiful end. So as requested by Mayank, the organizer of the Multi Nations Cup, and Pratham says close finish. Yes, Pratham, a very close finish and a beautiful tournament. We had a grandmaster playing for us today. So let me just show you what Mayank was trying to say here. So third multination battle has ended today, and Khelo Chess India has performed excellent. Look at the points, guys, 359. So thank you, Khelo Chess India team, for playing this multination team battle organized by MPH, that is Mayank, and uh, we are working together to create a great platform for you guys, not just to play at this India level, but also at the global level. We're organizing this kind of okay, I'm not able to, okay, so this kind of tournaments like multi-nation cups that you can see over here. So try to play these tournaments. Fourth multi-nation cup will be coming very soon, which will be on next Sunday, so try to play that as well. And I always try to actually get this tournament on my live broadcast, but unfortunately at the same time slot I have my online coaching which I cannot stop. So I have committed there as well. I have to commit here as well. So sometimes I miss this live broadcast of this third multination team battle. And one more thing that I would like you to all to see here. Okay, so if you're, mm, let me quickly open up. Okay, so this was a GM which we were talking about, and let me bring that window in front of you. Okay, yeah, I think it was here. Guys, just give me a minute. I'm just trying to show you this today's video, which you should definitely check out, which I released in the evening at around 4 p.m. And that video is my system is a bit slow. Okay, so check this video, guys. I'm just putting it on the screen. I hope it's visible for you. Yeah, this one. So this is actually my video which I have created recently for one book, that is The Last Gambit, which is a beautiful book which you can check in my comment section description box. So make sure, guys, you definitely check this video, and make a give a like to this video, guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and also check this book. Okay, and this is a beautiful line there. Sorry, I think it's the screen is getting cut off here. I will just try to get it for you. Yeah, success by design is definitely infinitely better than win by chance. So you always try to plan your success, and this is a beautiful doodle video that I have created for you guys. Make sure you go and check this video without fail today, and you also hit the like button and share with your friends. So I think that's all from this today's live broadcast. We have reached almost the end of this live broadcast, and yeah, Yogaraj says there is a lag. Yes, Yogaraj, streaming with the video and then playing a video, everything, I think that it creates some lag. So I'm just closing this right now, and let's go back to tournament. So that's, I think, all from my side, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the stream, enjoyed the live video, and thank you all of my viewers for reaching this great milestone of achieving the 700 subscribers for my channel. It's not my channel, it's actually your channel. And thanks a lot for all of your support. And I hope this support continues in the future for this channel, so that our family not just reaches thousand, but it reaches lakhs and millions in future. So that's all from my side, guys. I'm signing off today. I hope you are comfortable with my video as well as the screen in the background. So I hope it's all good. If you don't like the video which I am showing myself, just let me know in the comment section. I'll try to stop it then and make it back to the previous ones which were there. So all the best to all of you guys. Just check the video, hit the like button, subscribe button, and share with your friends as much as